Live already?
Yeah, we live already.
Shalom.
You ain't messing around over here, boy.
You playing around. You ain't got nothing going.
Camera up, phone up. Oh yeah, he made it easy for me this time.
Shalom, Mak. Y'all Bashim Shabbat Shem Kakatash Prakatash. Shalom, bro. What's the word? Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Do it. Yeah, I'm live already.
Live and living color. You always live.
Yeah, I'm 20 seconds in, bro.
That's why you're mighty man.
Hey.
Perfect. Going live, going live.
All right.
We want to give all honor and glory and praises unto
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash.
double honors to the apostles of Red Millstone that teach and rule well, and salutations to the elected finger sheep of Yahweh Hashem, Yahushai, sincerity and truth. And this great gospel comes out of our Bible speaking for the Israelites, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is the Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans who step at birth throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, we're back at you with another lesson, another Malcolm.
Hey, shalom, shalom. I'm not dressed properly, so that's why I'm not on camera. For anybody who might be wondering.
Yeah, got y'all the females gonna be like, man.
But
We can get you a
yeah,
t-shirt.
we're gonna talk about, something. As a matter of fact, somebody real quick get Second Ezra, the 9th chapter, and yeah, let's start with that.
Khan, start at 1.
Your Bible shot.
Khan, this is 2nd Esdras 9 and 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
And the Lord is doing that. I mean, you've had record amount of floods, storms. You had. I think you had like 5 floods in America. And hundreds of people have died as a result of it. And you got Texas, and the Carolina, and then you having floods in high grounds where it's not supposed to be floods. So, and then you're finding out that a lot of this land where these floods are happening has been bought up by some of these elites. So I was wondering, either way it goes, whether it be them playing with their machines, with their technology, which more than likely they are. It's still of the Lord. They don't do anything without the Lord allowing it. And it's funny how Esau has tried to put forth self-fulfilling prophecies, and the Lord has allowed him to do so in some cases, just so he have an excuse to destroy him. All right, but yeah, ain't that something the Lord give you to put the instructions in your mind for you to violate His law and His people that much further, just so He can bring punishment on you that much swifter. And that's exactly what He's doing with Esau Edom.
That's right.
He's guiding them to do all these things that are abominable in His sight, to where their sins have reached up into the heavens. Right? But the Lord is clearly visiting, the world which He made, and there's a movie that's out that I highly suggest that brothers go watch, and it's called 40 Acres. All right? And something on, bro. And in that movie, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna read the AI breakdown that I got on it. Because I asked a question. Because I actually took a little screenshot, but it's so blurry because of the light. I can't really read it. So I looked up I asked the question about, was it a fungal outbreak? And this is what the AI said. All right, and then you brothers can come with whatever scriptures you got. But it says, yes, the movie 40 Acres is set in a post-apocalyptic world where a fungal pandemic. Now, what's that movie, The Last of Us?
Yeah.
You're thinking about The Last of Us, which is an excellent series, right? Because it's kind of the same thing, all right? But it says, a post-apocalyptic world where a fungal pandemic wiped out most of animal life, causing a collapse of the food chain and eventually civil war. This makes farmland a highly valuable resource, and the plot revolves around the Freeman family, which is made up of Gadites and Judites intermixed and intermingled. All right, that's what this family is of. And it says defending their ancestral farmland from marauders and threats and other threats. This is a harsh new reality. And when you speak about the other threats are actually cannibalism. Right? It says the film depicts, and I hit, it said dive deeper, and I hit yes. It says the film depicts a post-apocalyptic world 14 years after the fungal infection wiped out animal life. Or I read that part. It says the main characters, the Freeman family, are descendants from the black and indigenous ancestors who settled on the land in Canada, and they may defend their property from scavengers and other threats in the New World. So basically, and majority of the cannibals and the threats were Edomites. Damn near all of them. And when I was looking at the crowd, I saw one Jake among the heathen that were trying to attack these Israelites.
I got you, scripture.
It was only, I saw one Jake that was among them.
Okay.
It looked like he could have been a terror.
I got you, scripture. You said come with the scriptures now?
Yeah, come.
Okay, this is Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity, and work evil upon their beds, for the one that light their practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Verse 2, and they covet fields, and take them by violence in houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. This is Esau's motherfucking MO. Ever since the beginning. What the fuck? What did...
Since Alexander.
Exactly.
Since they established themselves. Since the...
And sins will multiply.
Matter of fact, get it. Because when the Edomites came into power, all right, first through, this is why they uphold Alexander of Macedon, who the world would call Alexander the Great. We call him Alexander the Great. But who the world upholds him. And the reason they adore him so much and say that civilization started with him.
Right.
Right? No, what he did was mimic and copied other civilization and put his name on it. And the Edomites have been doing it ever since.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay? Evils will multiply on the earth when the so-called white man came into power. Read it.
So, first Maccabees, start at the top.
Stop at the top.
First Maccabees 1:1, and it happened that after Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian.
Stop right there. The Macedonian. You can track the Macedonians all the way back to the small hat.
To Esau.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Macedonians can be tracked back to Amalek, who was a grandson of Esau. So
Exactly.
they're the Edomites. Alexander, hence the reason why the rabbis always making videos telling you that the Greeks, the Romans, and now the Europeans and Americans, are finished. That they're all Esau, according to him. That's what he calls them, Esau. Or sometimes Asaph. Right? He says both. I've noticed he says Esau and Asaph. Right? That's what the rabbis say.
What was that cartoon back in the day when you used to watch Asaph Fables? It was a cartoon that used to come on.
Oh, somebody's fables.
Right.
Oh, I remember that. Damn. It was some Greek dude.
Greek dude, exactly.
Yeah, I remember that. I think about it and come back.
Yeah.
But go ahead, brother.
They used to talk about history through the cartoon.
A little bit, yeah, that's too. Right. It was always about Edomite history.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In the Greek time.
The Greek time. Go ahead, Tom.
It said, Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chetim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, and he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
Right, so the first over Greece. Greece is in Asia. All right? Remember, the name Europe didn't come until many, many years afterwards. Matter of fact, I can't even find any documentation I've been looking for. The word Europe is not really documented until after the Renaissance. Because when in the Bible, in the places that you call Europe today, the Bible refers to them as being in Asia. Okay?
Asia Major and Minor.
So I just watched a video yesterday where the guy that was narrating the video was speaking about Western Asia. He didn't say the Middle East.
Right.
All right? And so Asia connects to Africa. Europe is just above Africa. You can walk from Africa right into Europe. You can walk from Africa right into Asia Minor or Western Asia. Right? Matter of fact, let me get a receipt. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I kind of remember them doing that shift when I was in school. Because I remember being all Asia at one point in time. and then it became Eurasia. I think I was like maybe 6th, 7th grade when they started doing the history books. They started becoming Eurasia and whatnot. I was
I'm
the
about to
first,
find that definition of
yeah, because the
Eurasia.
first time I heard that, like I said, I think I might have like fell in a test or some shit because of that. It was like, this ain't that. And
Well,
what?
we're taught in the West that there are 7 continents, and the fact of the matter is only 6.
Right, right.
It's not 7 continents. They split up, you know, and that was a part of their pseudoscience, their racist pseudoscience. 1 Timothy 6 and 20. Somebody grab that real quick.
Yeah, but you see, I remember that back in there. But like I said, that wasn't a new term to me. Asia Major and Minor. That was how they had made the 7, calling it Asia Major and Minor. Then when they flipped it to Eurasia, they had to put something else on the top of that.
Here we go.
Go ahead.
Eurasia. This is from the Oxford Dictionary, 1850. Eurasian, all right, Asia. The compound Eurasia, Asia, of or pertaining to Eurasia, to Europe and Asia, considered as forming in reality one continent. So this is from their own source, their own information. So it's one continent, as always has been. So they teach that lie so that they can teach the false, the fraudulent concept of whiteness.
Right.
That's where they came up with that, and then try to make that their home as if that's where they kind of came from. The truth of the matter is that they came from Jordan, from Petra, from Mount Petra, that whole region. And there are artifacts in Jordan right now that if you looked at those artifacts, you would think you were looking at images of Alexander and his people, because it's the same people. All right?
Elder, we were talking earlier, they shot some Indiana Jones, the part of the movie in Mount Petra.
That's the spirit.
The third one, what was that? Last Crusades.
God.
And I've seen, they also have videos with the artwork like you're speaking about, of their ancestors and as the faces too.
Y'all leave me on camera, but I'm not there.
Yeah.
That's what you get for calling me here with my skill.
Me and Steve and Shirley.
Yeah.
You want the First Timothy?
Yeah, go ahead and read it, brother.
This is the book of First Timothy, chapter 6 and verse 20. O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science falsely so called.
Right, so Esau created a whole science to back up his lies. And that's what he stands on, which is why it makes sense to you. Why he comes against you so hard when you criticize or reveal his science, like what happened a couple of years ago with the C-19 thing. Yeah. Anyone who revealed the fraud behind that, they came against you harshly, because his whole kingdom is supported on all these pseudo meaning false. Someone can look up that word and read the definition. But his whole kingdom and support system is supported on the fraud of this whole pseudoscience. And the last thing he needs is you coming with definitions and meanings of words and exposing shit, showing him to be the fraudulent liar that he is. It's just like all of a sudden, I got a video I'd like to play, but like all of a sudden, there is no Epstein files.
Right.
So Ghislaine Maxwell is doing 20 years for trafficking people that she never really trafficked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's another one. What about the NASA and landing on the moon? You got to continuously push that.
You got to keep pushing that lie, because that and which is basically a huge majority of the world know that that's fraud at this point.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, this man still has control of the mainstream media, but people are still poking fun at it in cartoons. What was that? The Minions even made fun of it. Little yellow Minions.
Right.
They walked in on the moon on a shooting in the studio where they were shooting the moon landing. So they were telling you, you know what I mean?
One of Esau's well-known lies being unraveled. Now all that, don't you got his top astronaut Buzz,
Whatever they got.
Buzz
Armstrong.
Aldrin or something?
Buzz Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong.
No, the astronauts. But basically, Esau's conflicting with him because he said it never happened. It never happened, but at the same time, he got to continue to push that lie, and he got guys behind him if he don't push that live and go to these NASA conferences and stuff, you know, what's gonna happen to him, man?
This is the book of Job 13:4. It says, "But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value." And all you got to do is go throughout Esau's history. He's not good for telling the truth at all.
He's not in it.
It's not in him. That's why even with the land masses, he changes the names of the land masses. He changes the identity of the peoples.
Couldn't even change his own identity. He don't want to take that even like identity.
No,
He said they were done away with, right?
He don't want to be who he is.
Nah.
And he's right. He's been pushing that he's been done away with
Forever.
fraud. But the rabbis keep telling you that white Christians in America and in Europe are Edom or Esau. But here, I'm gonna play this real quick.
Amazing facts about Jeffrey Epstein. So, he was a math teacher. What? I thought he was a famous financier. No. Did you know he didn't finish college at all? He got hired for that math job. Anyway, why? Because he got hired by the father of former Attorney General Bill Barr. What? Then he gets picked out of obscurity after he gets fired from that job, and he becomes a finance guy at Bear Stearns. Then he gets picked out from there by the head of a giant company, including Victoria's Secrets. That guy's an enormous AIPAC supporter, and AIPAC is, of course, the lobby that helps Israel here in America. And he says to Jeffrey Epstein, "Hey, why don't you handle hundreds of millions of dollars for me? College dropout, random guy who got fired as a math teacher." And then he starts handling that money, and the next thing you know, he starts his criminal enterprise. And, who visits Jeffrey Epstein 30 times? Ehud Barak, the Prime Minister of Israel. Interesting. Who else visits him? The head of Mossad. Interesting. Then, Alan Dershowitz told Benny Johnson that he took Epstein to Israel and met members of their parliament. Interesting. By the way, don't ask questions about any of these. You're not allowed to ask these questions. His co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, the biggest grouper in American history, was her dad, Robert Maxwell, one of the most legendary Israeli spies of all time. Got a state funeral that Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin attended at the time. He was Mossad. Mossad is the secret agency, of course, the equivalent of the CIA for Israel. By the way, they're not the only intelligence agency that he has amazing connections to. Yeah, Epstein himself once apparently told someone that he worked with the CIA. But don't ask about intelligence agencies. What's powerful enough to make sure that both parties don't do anything about a guy who dies under very mysterious circumstances with missing videotapes, missing guards, missing cellmates, inside a U.S. prison, who might have dirt on incredibly powerful Democrats and Republicans, but no one's allowed to say anything. And now we get an absurd story about how hundreds of girls were sexually abused and raped, but no one raped them. There's no clients at all. There's no list at all, and no one will ever be prosecuted. And we're not supposed to think that it's an intelligence agency that has this kind of power. I don't know if it's CIA and Mossad or Mossad, but are we allowed to ask these questions? Of course, because the official government position is nonsense. This guy came out of nowhere, supported by a lot of mysterious figures.
So it's the big things that make you go
Wow.
And so it seems that Jeffrey Epstein, all right, like Alexander the Great, came out of nowhere, and Jeffrey Epstein was illegitimate in everything. He wasn't even a college graduate, yet he was a math teacher. All right, he wasn't a college graduate, but yet he was in control of finances of millions of dollars. All right, he didn't have any clearances, yet he was doing business with the CIA and the Mossad. All right, so it goes to show you that Esau is that illegitimate, corrupt ruler. All right, he's ruling, but he doesn't have the credentials to rule. All right, he doesn't. He's immoral in everything that he does, but he's while trying to play the role as being this pious. It's kind of like Donald Trump. All right, because Donald Trump is looking pretty counterfeit right now, especially to his own party. MAGA motherfuckers as mad as hell. All right, so just like in this movie, it's talking about a civil war. It's not just a pandemic that's going to bring on the civil war. All this stuff is prophesied. All right, It tells you this in the scriptures that these things will happen. Both the famine, somebody gets second after 6, and plus the political things that's making people mad, man. Because I probably got 100 videos in my phone right now of MAGA people like ready to go get their straps and do the damn thing. They mad as hell, man, and they feeling betrayed. All right, and then and they're angry. And then you got those Trump supporters who are just so proud they don't want to be proven or seen to be wrong. All right.
Those are poor ones, poor tribes.
Well, rich ones losing money, they upset.
Right.
They ready to go to war.
Yeah. Like I said, we talked about that years ago. If you ain't a billionaire, no, you don't count. Because you got millionaires that just said this shit ain't holding up. They don't realize that, like I said, that millionaire lifestyle between all the shit that they've already got and all the motherfucking taxes and shit they gotta pay on this shit and the maintenance of this shit. If you ain't got that kind of income coming around, like I said, you put that kind of lifestyle in play. It might cost you $150, $180, maybe $200,000 a year to maintain that lifestyle. So now all of a sudden your shit just dropped to $150, $140, $130,000 a year. You can't maintain that. You can't maintain that between the taxes, the motherfucking costs that it takes to keep up, the upkeep of that shit, your cars, and all this other kind of shit. You got a multi-million-dollar lifestyle, which costs you a couple $100,000 to maintain, and you ain't got that shit. That's what motherfuckers be talking about, how you go broke and whatnot because of that. Hey, so like we say, the Edomites that was down there on the Gold Coast, that was just barely getting by, them motherfuckers, like Elder Malcolm said, a lot of them motherfuckers broke camp quick.
Committing suicide.
Yeah.
Suicide is real high right now.
Oh, they ain't gonna tell you that motherfucker will take yourself out.
Yeah, the brother Shakia is actually out near me, which the Lord might have actually did that on purpose, brought him away from all that madness downtown. And he said as soon as he left there, all hell broke out down there. And just yesterday, I was chopping it up with him, and he mentioned how suicides are really high among white people, in and around Gold Coast, River North, the Magnificent Mile, Streeterville, all those places where they're living, high on the hog, that a lot of those people are offering themselves, but yet and there's always been a media blackout because it's kind of hard to sell $1 million condos when people know that people in swan dive off of
Motherfucker took them pills and went to sleep, and then nobody come looking for them until they smell that body. They smell that shit.
I haven't seen Bob. Yeah, I'm sure I smell him.
Just real fast downtown.
That's nasty.
It's a ghost town.
It's a ghost town.
Coming from north going south. About I say Cowboy past that, man. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, the State Street, especially like where we used to teach.
Yeah.
The spirit that place is dead. It's alive during the day because of people that work there, but after that it's done.
We came through there. It was dead. It was never work. You used to see college students and stuff. So we go about how much Columbia.
Most of the apartment buildings and the businesses around it are all closed and dead. So them little fast food joints, all them federal and court people, law people that's on Dearborn, all them courthouses and federal buildings are, they come there and eat lunch all up and down there.
And that's why they closed down. As soon as that lunch hour over, they closed.
And that's it, man. So
I gotta love that shit.
America's dying.
I gotta love that shit. I love it.
Because we witnessed it when it was at its booming.
Bruh.
You remember the smell going downtown Chicago like in the 80s and 90s? You can smell the money. You can smell going to buildings when you went to the Water Tower or Sears Tower, or you can just walk down the street, man. You can just smell nothing but money. Like these Edomites was down there looking at you.
No. I'm just saying, it wasn't the fact that you could smell the money. You could tell how the Edomites was looking at your ass.
The tourism has pretty much died. All right, and then you got these stupid ass niggas out here. They was young like Brother Yao over there. You know, when they started beating on them buckets. Now these niggas is grown as hell with kids and they drive downtown to parks to play on the bucket.
Elder, what you said
Smoking cigarettes and then trying to still get money. And I'm like, you stupid niggas, you ain't figured out that this shit is dead? Or the fact that, you know, all these squares you bought and all these Jordans, what if all of y'all actually bought drums?
Yeah, cut.
You know, I'm like, you still beating on buckets. What if you actually bought some instruments and then you can actually, you'll draw more people in? They stupid, man. Jake dumb as hell. Sit out here with a bucket flipped up down. Right, you 25, 30 years old still beating on the bucket.
I've never seen no ass niggas.
And some of them the same niggas that was 13, 14 years old beating on the buckets in the McDonald's commercials.
Yeah.
Now you grown as hell, still beating on the bucket. I'm going to work, baby. Keep packing your lunch.
In the bucket.
You go downtown, right in your bucket. You got a bologna sandwich and some fruit and some squares. Right.
That's fucked up.
Stupid. Jake is just so simple, man.
So you can buy some real drums.
Right. And I'm, you know, and it's like, you know, you probably make a whole lot more money.
Huh.
If you bought a snare, you bought a bass drum, you bought. Y'all can really play and make some money, man, but y'all need to still beat buckets.
Sounding awful.
Taking smoke breaks while the other one plays.
Uptown, they used to go rob the motherfuckers in the neighborhood. One dude would take a break and go rob motherfuckers.
And then come back to
Yeah,
beat
play the drums.
They wonder why the police be on their ass. Niggas.
Damn.
But and it sounds awful, man. Like,
It sounds awful.
bullshit.
And every time I look at them, you know, and I think of them that monkey that beat the drums.
Oh, yeah,
I look at them and I said, that's how these crackers are looking at you. And they coming up and but they don't understand, when they throwing change in your bucket of $1, they're mocking you.
Yeah.
They're mocking you. They're too stupid. Yeah, they're mocking you. Like, yeah, keep playing that simple.
Yeah.
Don't be looking at my daughter either. Keep playing that damn simple, beating that bucket. I ain't beating the drum, beating the bucket. Jake is low level, man, and he's gonna get caught up in this famine, and he's gonna get caught up in this racial thing, because he doesn't know, Jake doesn't realize completely who his enemy is. And now you not only have the prophets warning you that America's in trouble as they're taking away all your so-called rights. You even got celebrities saying it now. All right, how many of y'all saw the video of Ricky Smiley talking about how afraid he is?
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Me and
so he was like, man, y'all don't understand, man. You the rights that you supposedly had already wasn't working for you. All right. You know, matter of fact, get Isaiah 42 and 22, and then get those other scriptures in second Ezra, because you're already filling the prison houses. How much more now? They're snatching up the northern kingdom left and right. All right. And then they're gonna be. You think you Judites are next, man? And they ain't even just gonna try to snatch you up. They just gunning y'all down, man. And at the same time, Edomites have been actually physically attacking ICE, and they ain't even putting that shit in the news.
Yeah, they got numbers of
It ain't even going in the news. They literally been doing hits on ICE officers.
shooting at them.
And then it is unlawful as fuck. They trying to give this excuse of how in danger they are. Well, you know what? When people are arresting you and they're showing no credentials, you don't know who the fuck grab them. And especially now that you know that Edomites are just going to buy shit off the internet, you know, and just rolling up, because there have been cases where these dudes are dressing up like they're law enforcement, and then they snatching up women and raping them and shit. These women are complying and just getting in the car because they're afraid that, you know, you in the woods getting clapped. It's like, wait a minute, what the fuck?
Damn.
That's the carousel.
Yeah, that's the point, bitch.
That's the fuck. That's the carousel jumping.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah, well, you're right. Hey, we've been warning you that the carousel was gonna ride your ass.
This Isaiah 42 and verse 22 says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey and none delivered, for a spoil and none said restored.
So you people are broke down, tore off, and this Edomite is going to have it as so. And that's his MO. He ain't looking to change his shit. He's doing exactly what the hell he was designed to be to you. Your arch fucking enemy. Your arch enemy. I'm not going to show you no quarter. I'm not going to give you no mercy. I don't have anything. What it says, 35 and 5.
I got it right here.
Go ahead.
This Ezekiel 35 verse 5 says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, and the time of their calamity, and the time that their iniquity had an end.
Go ahead. Yeah, so go ahead, break it down.
So this man always is going to have a hatred for the Hebrew Israelites, man, the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is why he's going to come down with great wrath upon you, right, first and foremost.
He's not changing. He's not looking for a different way to treat you.
Right.
He's not exploring a different way to treat you. He doesn't want to find a different way to treat you. He likes treating you exactly the way he treats you.
Yup.
He wants his foot on your neck at all motherfucking time. And if you think anything other than that, you done fooled yourself. Like I said, if he put his foot on your neck, you gonna be trying to figure out how to cut his foot off.
Right.
But no, you laying there saying, "Thank you. Can I get some more? Can I get some more? Can I get some more?"
The scripture in Isaiah said that our people were laid down as the ground, and the heat has stepped over us. You know, you was like a floor mat, man.
Exactly.
Got that right here.
Go ahead.
This is Isaiah 51 and 22. Thus saith thy Lord, the Yahweh, and thy power that pleadeth the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over. All right. So our people basically were put into this subjugation, man, especially by the other nations. The scriptures tell you how there's not what nation has not had a part in her kingdoms and spoils, man. All right. So everything that we've gone through, man, the Lord ultimately is going to flip the tables and turn it upon this Edomite, man. All
But
right.
at this particular point in time, not only did they lay down, they enjoyed the motherfucking subjugation.
Right.
Yeah.
You've been
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm, exactly. You've been motherfuckers. Y'all done been here so long now that y'all don't see the motherfucking ramifications of what this is. Our women and whatnot that hate our guts and this, that, and other. And now that they starting to see that they benefits and shit is starting to be snatched and whatnot. Now they want to come back. And even females are saying, bitches, y'all burn that bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Them niggas don't want y'all.
Oh, no.
They don't want y'all. They fucking white and they fucking white and Oriental bitches before they even look to fuck with y'all.
Ooh, can I get one real quick? This is Lamentations 4 and 17. It says Lamentations 4 and 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
Right. So that's it. They hoped that this Edomite would have a human or humanity trait in him. But he's not human. Human is a word wrote off of hue, color. These motherfuckers ain't got no color. They've been devoid of color. These are the people that no matter what, they can stand out there in the motherfucking sun and they can't absorb it. They feel like a lizard with this shit. They feel like a fucking lizard, man.
Well, you know, just like over in the land of Israel, that's the highest skin cases of skin cancer.
Right.
You know, so that's it's like really you're supposed to be the people.
You're the people.
Right.
Right. You can't even survive in the land, man. I mean, literally, they die more than any other people on the planet. Second to them is Australia. Right? Yeah, but but how it's I mean, how many thousands of ways do you prove that these people are not the people of the Lord? Right. All right, but go ahead and get those scriptures and get back on this famine and this civil war.
2 Ezra 6.
6, yeah, Baruch.
2 Ezra 6 and 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear.
Speak up a little louder, but this fan might be loud in the background.
2 Ezra 6 and 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty.
Right, the brothers just spoke on that, how they passed the old area where we used to, one of the main places where we used to teach downtown, and how dead it is. And I walked through there yesterday, and it's dead. Like I said, the only time it's busy is when the people at work at all those courthouses and buildings. Cause you got 5 huge federal buildings, and all them people that work in those court in the state, one state and four federal buildings.
Yep.
And all those people come right there to that little strip to eat all those different fast foods.
In and out.
And yeah,
You remember the beef burger spot?
Yeah, the bison,
The
the
beef-
bison burger. The
oh
bison
yeah.
burger.
They used to have it for like $5 or $6 for
You talking about the South Loop Club or whatever it was?
Yep, South Loop.
That not only that little bar that was underground, right there on State around the corner from where we used to teach. Right? All that stuff is gone, man. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for what's that historic hotel right there?
Congress.
The Palmer House. All the businesses on the bottom are pretty much dead on State Street.
Oh, yeah.
All right, it wasn't for the fact that the few tourists that they got left. It's a landmark status, but everything around it is dead, man.
We saw love to keep those tourist spots up.
He got them old black and white pictures from the roaring 20s, from the 1930s, and he holding on, to his glory days and his happy days. And that old song, Happy Days Are Here Again, and no, ain't no more happy days for you, man.
Yeah, I saw that on one of the fucking little shorts that came up on my thing, right? This cop was telling this old motherfucker, he was like 81 years old now, he couldn't talk to this female in a particular way and this, that, and other. He said, back when I was young, this shit wouldn't have happened and whatnot. Y'all wouldn't have came at me like that. Now, hey, 73 showed up in my head. He ain't in trouble like other people. This motherfucker here thinks that he's like, hey, y'all couldn't have did this shit. And I'm like, fuck
It's
it.
an Edomite that's getting beat up right now somewhere in the gas station, but they still got that
Oh,
mentality.
yeah.
That's not too much.
Yeah, you see Edomite men and women catching the flops. And, the older ones, because they running their mouths to these YNs and to, and these new niggas.
I used to work in a steakhouse in Alabama, and an old white woman told me, they watch those hip hop videos. Why don't you do one of those dances y'all do? I was like, what you say, old white woman? The younger people like, no, she's old school. Don't worry,
I'm gonna show the watch two cents right here.
Okay,
I'm
don't
gonna
worry about it.
show
I'm
the
gonna
watch
give
two
an
cents
old
right
school smack. You gotta understand, man, that when Jake, when Esau came over here, right? And when he brought the southern kingdom over here, bringing them from the west coast of Africa to join their brothers in slavery,
Right.
over here, the northern kingdom, he had to beat their heritage out of them. That generation is back, all right? Because that generation was the same generation that came against Yahushua. They had to bear the brunt of that punishment.
Right.
You understand? Then he said, let it fall upon us and our children.
Come
Well,
on.
and now that same generation is
It's
back.
here.
That's a belligerent, hard-headed sons of Belial. The damn Benjamites went to war with everybody, including Israel. They was like, no, we gonna be fruity and everything else. Fuck the rest of the family. Nigga, y'all can get it too. And so that messed up mentality. Yeah, that's how Jake is, man. They wild and unruly, man. All right, and Esau gonna have to put them down, and he is gonna put a lot of them down. Flip side of that coin, that the Lord is about to turn Jake's spirit up, and they're about to get it cracking, right? Because it's gonna be different this time. And then why we keep saying Esau is so worried about Jake, he gonna have to worry about them other Edomites in this civil war. All right, because these Edomites are mad as hell, and basically you Jake's just gonna be cannon fodder. All right, you just gonna get caught in the middle of the crossfire. Because the Edomites gonna be killing each other, and then they gonna stop just to kill a bunch of y'all niggas and spirits.
You step up
Then
there,
they gonna
not
go
a
right
problem.
back to killing each other, man.
Not a problem.
All right, they might stop for a minute. Then, damn, all the brownies over there. light them up, and they go right back to killing each other.
World War I, they got mad because the Harlem Hellfighters over in Europe killing them Europeans.
Oh yeah.
And they said, "Oh, you gonna come to America? You go
Still do that shit? Yeah.
or even try to establish some rights?" No.
Yeah.
They said they had to put them right back down.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And
Like,
then as a matter of fact, a lot of those, the Red Summer was behind that. They were, a lot of them were angry because they knew that them Negroes went over there to France. They was laying pipe to the German women, to the French women, and they was killing Germans and French men, right? And they were aware of it. That they were over there killing Edomites, man. Okay, and so they came back to America in that uniform, and the good old boys, you were just a nigga to them, who was out of order, needed to be put back in your place.
yeah, you.
And that, and that's the mindset of a lot of these maggots, man. That's how you know that these civil wars are all about to kick off, because Esau refuses to acknowledge he holds himself not guilty. All right, hint. He holds himself not guilty, and he still wants to make his problems your fault. All right. He doesn't want to acknowledge that Israel is a welfare state, draining America of its resources. That the majority of, so not only Israel, but the majority of people on welfare in America was also Edomites, white people. And so he wants to run with the narrative that this is the brownies' fault. All you brown folks drained the system. And the truth of the matter is, it wasn't the brown people that drained the system. It's really you white folks. And your undying support of Israel, who actually hates you white people. They hate Christianity. And they make it very known. Yet they pay these 501c3 controlled puppets here in America. You fake the bread basket. I got a video I gotta find where the guy talks about Christianity, the fake Bible Belt Christianity, and this is an Edomite calling it that. That they don't follow us in the Bible the same as the Israelis with their Judaism. This was the Edomite saying that. I gotta find that video. Go ahead and read those scriptures. Bible shop.
They can buy it.
I got, okay. Well, what you said on that, I said, okay, this is Zechariah 11, I'm starting at 4. And thus says Yahweh, my power, feed the flock of the slaughter, whose possess and slay them, and hold themselves not guilty. And that they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds, pity them not. Okay, so like I said, the so-called would-be fucking leaders, supposed to be your spiritual leaders, are saying, hey, they MC Green and Tupac. I gotta get mine, you gotta get yours.
Yeah.
And that's where they at. And you motherfuckers up there, hey, you trying to give him $10, $15, $20 motherfucking week, got your shit. And that motherfucker is driving a motherfucking Benz or some shit. And, but you want to say we the wicked motherfuckers because we go out there and curse and do this and do that. I call myself trying to go by one of my dudes' house because he did a bunch of cooking and whatnot. He knows he doesn't eat pork, so I said it'll be a safe place to go and grab a couple of blizzies and shit and this, that, and the other. Talk what I talk, say what I said, and I'm sitting there with 3 other guys, and we having a conversation. I'm doing some reminiscing. I'm running it back to when we was kid age, because we're all same age. I'm running it back to when we was kid ages and this, that, and the other. But like you said, and like the apostles say, you can't hang out with these motherfuckers. Because these motherfuckers will vex you on a whole different level. Now, I know that, now he's over there bragging about, oh man, 54 years right there. Because we met each other when we was 10 years old. No, huh? No, we met each other when we was 10 years old in grammar school. We got 54 years of knowing each other. I'm sitting there doing some reminiscing with some guys, and I just met one of these guys. When I got ready to leave, he was standing in front. I went to get my car. He said, man, it was good talking to you, man, blah, 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 this, that, and the other, bumpity, bump. Because I'm talking to them like men talk. I called him. He called me for something. I'm talking to him. He said, oh, yeah, man, by the way. No, by the way, man, you be aware of when you, this one female asked me, this, that, and the other, this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, who? The guy with the hat? No, the other guy. It was like the guy was so, because I had on these clothes on because I had been working. It was a 450. I ain't get no fuck. I'm working. So I stopped over there. He was like, yeah, man, she talking about, who is that? He come from the corner, he cussing and this and cussing and that, and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I said, okay.
Last time over there.
Exactly. I'm like, fuck you. Fuck that bitch. Fuck all this shit. Are you serious? Now, a man tell me that he enjoyed talking to me. The bitch ain't got shit to say about how I'm talking.
What's up, bitch?
Seriously? So these people here are so fucking fucked up that I'm like, man, oh, and we ain't got to worry about that job. I just thought about that shit. He said he might have a job for us. Yeah, fuck him. Go ahead, y'all, with those scriptures y'all got. Because this one's fucked up, man. You got me, we done done 54 years, and you go tell me to cater to some bitch that I don't even know? Jake Week.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
So 2 Ezra 6 and 23. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall suddenly be afraid. At that time shall friends fight against one another.
There we go.
That trumpet is that sound like if you've ever seen the Purge movies. All right?
That's an eerie sound.
Perfectly right. You know, that type of trumpet, when those warning signs go off. You know? All right?
Yep.
Read.
It says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies.
See what I'm saying?
And you gotta ask yourself, what would make friends fight against one another? That famine.
That famine and that whole deal, like you say, they not gonna understand, so they gonna be out there in motherfucking panic mode. But that's what's gonna make Isaiah 4:1 kick in, because while these motherfuckers are travailing like women with pains and whatnot, the men of the Lord gonna be like, bitch, shut up and sit down. This shit is supposed to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
We getting close. I'm getting closer to being a fucking ruler. Sit your ass over there, shut the fuck up, and whatnot. And we gonna see how the Lord is gonna get us through this shit, and leave me the fuck alone. If not, if you think you can do better, carry your ass out there on the street and find a motherfucker that's got it going on.
That verse reminds me of the what was that back in the day, the cartoon with Daffy Duck, or there's a table with the beans, lima beans. It was homies.
They're trying to cut that bean up.
Before it happened, it was cool. It was friends. Everything was lovely. They found a piece of bean. We good. Slice it 3 ways. Oh no! It's
Man,
Friends,
fuck
friends
you,
trying to follow.
fuck you. I'm trying to get this bean and be by myself. Go ahead, man.
2 Ezra 6 and 24. At that time shall friends fight one another against one another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. It says, whosoever remaineth from all these things that I have told thee shall escape and see my salvation and the end of your world. And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart of the inhabitants shall be changed and turned into another meaning.
Break it down, boy.
2 Ezra 6 and 26. And the men that are received shall see it, who have not tasted death from their birth, and the heart.
Because when you go through the scriptures, man, it's all about being part of that election. It's all about being a part of that election. You want to receive that salvation. You want to be part of the deliverance. When you are dealing with the Christian church, they talk about they're already saved. How you already saved? We got a famine coming. We got World War III coming.
Right, the elect hasn't been established yet.
Exactly. There's so many things that gotta happen, but these people here, they are still in hell talking about
I'm
they're
saved, sanctified.
Sanctified.
I'm saved, sanctified, and washed in the blood of Jesus.
And that's why I really smile every time I hear afraid. They have no faith. They don't
They
believe
ain't
nothing.
standing on shit.
They ain't standing no
This dude been having the best time of his life all these years.
Hey, Ricky Smiley represents the Negro Church.
Yeah,
That's why I made that comment. you know what I mean, have no faith, they worship and see your boy Jay, and they're afraid. And you should be. Because you ain't part of your how about you have time. You
Yup.
should be afraid. Because the Lord is
his answer is get dual citizenship.
right, like that's gonna save you from
You
judgment.
can run from
From the Lord.
the Lord, man. You can't run from this, man.
Run from a bear and do what?
Exactly.
Didn't
Right.
the Lord already take the sign from suicide already?
Shit, you seen the movies, man? You couldn't even run from Jason.
Yeah. Right
Right on your
Nigga, right? He just be walking and still catch you. That nigga just appear somewhere. And he find your hiding place. You can't. Look, the Lord gonna send Jason for your ass.
Right?
Chucky too.
Yeah.
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 Right? The little nigga gonna come under the door and run you out to the big nigga.
That's
You ain't
it.
go. Look, there's no escaping what's coming for you, man.
That's it. Like you
All right?
said, man, all your
If you are not of the elect, okay, and that's what it comes down to, man. No amount of passports, no amount of gun power, no matter how many weapons you have, man, that's only gonna get you so far. And that movie that we opened up speaking about, lots of people had guns. There's gunfights all over the place, man. Okay? But you know, you enter a gunfight, there's no guarantee that you're coming out of that bitch alive, man.
It's true.
All right? You might kill all your enemies and still take one and die later.
That's
Ain't
it.
that what happened to Smoke and Sinners?
exactly, absolutely.
He killed all them damn
All
devils,
them
man,
crackers.
but he still ended up dying.
Facts.
Took that
Right.
one.
You're right. He went to the spirit world after he did a Samson thing. He took out all his enemies, and then he joined them in the spirit world, man.
Yeah.
So ain't no guarantee that you're gonna come out of any of this unscathed or alive, man. At least the Lord is with you, man.
Facts.
And so that's why we do what we do. Why we suffer the way we suffer. Right? Because we're praying, we're doing this work so that our labors don't be in vain, man. The Lord said that it wouldn't be. So we believe in the word's Lord, in the Lord's word. So that's what we bank on. That's where we put all our eggs in one basket, and that basket is your house.
That's right.
You got a bunch of precepts, brother. Bring them out.
Hold on,
Con.
is he done?
So
we're
there's
still-
there's a little bit more. It says, for 2 Ezra 6:27, for evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which hath been so long without fruit shall be declared.
And that's what you're experiencing now.
Right.
All right, the truth is being declared. All right, to the dismay of the enemies of Yahushua. All right, to the enemies of those who would call themselves white, or call you black or Hispanic or whatever. Right, to their dismay, the truth is actually being declared, and they don't want the truth. They want things to stay the way that it is.
Go ahead.
Khan, this is Amos 5:18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no brightness in it? So when that day comes, man, if you don't have Yahweh Shem Yahweh with you, then you're gonna be out here in so many different situations facing Jacob's trouble by yourself, man. All right, because your friends and family, they're gonna turn against you, man. Everybody is gonna be on a, survival of the fittest type of mentality, man.
Every man
All right,
himself.
exactly. You know?
You said Jacob's trouble. That's also going to be Esau's trouble too. We
Absolutely.
was reading about on the house being divided and going against each other, man. And talking about earlier about how MAGAs against the other type of Trump supporters, and what about the Biden and Kamala people? You know, they're still around, man, fighting for their little LGBTQ plus rights and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been here
There's a
to go
lot
down,
of
man.
players,
Yeah.
a lot of players.
Matter of fact, I got another one to back up what you just said. This is Micah 5:8. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both treadeth down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. All right, so these other heathen, they're going to be through when these YNs and all these different Jakes that are getting riled up by all the things happening right now, especially with Esau, voicing their opinion on how they really feel about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They're on social media from every platform, telling you how they really think about you people, man. All right, and Jake is getting riled up, man. The division in America is growing more and more, man.
Yeah, I just watched a video with a young Jake who said that anybody, he said that they said that they loved him, said that they was his friend, and he said this is he said I'm gonna say this as gentle as I can to my white friends. If you voted for Trump, I ain't fucking with you. You know, and if you are a brown person, you voted for Trump, I ain't fucking with you. I actually hate y'all. Y'all my enemies. He said because it's clear and apparent. He said if it ain't, it's beyond. I'm gonna see if I can find it. He said it's beyond clear and apparent that this man is a hateful racist out to destroy my people and people that look anything like me. Anything brown he wants to destroy. And make America white all over, basically.
We see what's happening in Mexico City.
Oh yeah, man. And that's gonna spread throughout South America and throughout the world. They're literally, because then in Job 18 and 5, I think, said they're gonna be chased out of the world, man. and them Edomites in Mexico is getting chased out of the world.
They were living comfortably.
They were too comfortable.
Right.
They were able to have their businesses here in America and live in Mexico, and all of that. The rate, the business rates and exchange rates, all that stuff was in their best of their advantage and for their business. So they've been reaping off this cigars back over there still to this day.
And they brought up the cost of living.
Cost of living for the people.
They brought up the cost of living for the regular people over in Mexico, man.
Yeah, now the motherfuckers that went over there, the motherfucking no, those guys that went over there that went down there and called themselves trying to like I said, dual citizenship, or whatever the case might be, and went down there and got citizenship in Mexico. So they got their funds that's based off of American currency coming to them down there. So they live in Hound the Heart, and now they just drove up the fucking cost of living.
They create gentrification.
Gentrification.
So, and they're trying to say, look what we're doing for you. We're creating jobs and businesses. Yeah, but you're destroying my neighborhoods.
I can't live in the fucking neighborhood I was in because now it costs too much to be here.
Right, exactly. So in history, basically they're trying to do the same shit they did in Pilsen.
Yeah.
Right? Because I remember driving through Pilsen when I was doing Lyft and dropping people out, all these Edomites in Pilsen. And you driving on these back streets and you cut through an alley or something, and all you see spray painted everywhere is Ringo go home, Mighty we don't want you, and shit like that.
What was that spot that we went to get the Cuban sandwich for the Chemical Town? You wouldn't remember that.
What they call that?
It's off Diversity, that little area.
It's the Puerto Rican area?
Diversity, yeah, you were basically in Humble Park.
Humble Park.
So that area, like going back to what you said,
You saw them took that shit
man,
off.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
So remember
half of Humble Park is Edomites.
Yeah.
So we came out the
The
restaurant.
dude was complaining.
He was upset. It was another
He said
city
these
out
fucking
there.
crackers are taking over my neighborhood, man. We just came out of the restaurant. The Latino brothers
But
on
that's
10.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's ready to stop banging.
He had his shirt up.
He had his shirt off.
He had the spirit of, he had gangbanging spirit,
Yeah,
but he
he
wasn't
was-
with that with us.
Right, it was
He
toward
know
them.
he know what the director too. That's what I said. Like when I got Canasta from his mama when he was like 2 years old or whatever, I had a building over there near Western, like North Avenue,
Okay.
up in that area. The hospital was like on the other side of Roberto Clemente, and this, that, and the other. And I was like, and I was doing this speculative real estate investing at that time. And I was able to get a good deal up there. I was like, 3 flat over here, this, that, and the other, 15, maybe 18 years, this motherfucker could be worth. Because I knew that the hospital, you could go down to City Hall and see the motherfucking planning things. And I was downtown, so I could do that shit. Man, long story short, when I went to get Canasta, I was like, I gave that motherfucker back. I bought it under a predatory lender, but I gave it. I knew they had me bent over at 26%.
They'll keep going up on you.
This is in 86.
That's crazy. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so but I said, I'll hold it, I'll flip it, refinance, do all this other shit with it. Anyway, long story short, like you said, but if you didn't know that it was gonna come up like that, like he didn't know, obviously, like I said, the Latino brother didn't know it was gonna come up like that, It was back in the 80s that they would go develop that shit and run it up and make them prices go through the roof. That same 3 flat now is $600,000.
Yeah, he's always playing here. And Jake just sick and tired you Edomites anyway, man. He my neighbor across the hall from me. I hear him in the hallway coming in. He just shouted out, "Fuck all white people." Yeah, I said it and went in the park.
Wow. See, that's it. I just looked at this video. It said 11,000 Edomites went to New Mexico in 2024. At the same time that they snatching up, arrested, and oppressing. All right, and then you got Issacharites with signs like "Yankee go home."
Gringo killers.
Yeah, this one said, "Learn Spanish."
You're in our neighborhood,
It
nigga.
says, "Pay taxes, learn Spanish, respect my culture."
Oh,
All right.
Wow.
So so Issachar down there mad as fuck, as they should be,
on 10.
even though Spanish is not your language.
Exactly.
But that's what they know right now.
I got something. This Job 18 verse 18. He shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world.
This Edomite, look. This Edomite, when he was drove up into the motherfucking Caucasus Mountain caves, it would have been perfect if he could have been there, but then we wouldn't have learned all the lessons that he needed to learn under the tutelage of Yahweh Shah.
Well, prophecy had to be fulfilled.
That's
That's the thing that Jake, but everybody's tired of. We had to fall under them. They had to get the dominion.
right.
It all had to happen. It had to play out. Because, it's funny, I had this conversation with my cousin earlier, and we were talking about Gad and natives. He was something, I can't remember exactly what the conversation was about, but he saw something in it, and he sent me a message, and I called him. We was chopping it up, and I was explaining to him about the Iroquois. Oh yeah, he said it was 163 different tribes of Iroquois in the and I don't know if you brothers are aware that Chicago is actually called Chicago. Right? Chicago. That's how it's actually said. Chicago.
Right.
That's what it's called. And I was explaining to him that on the city sticker that you see on every bus stop, that you'll see on cops' uniforms, that you'll see on some of the postal advertisements that workers, they have this native pointing at a ship on the shore. Right, and then they have a Edomite baby illuminated inside of a shell, like a seashell. That is to signify the first white baby born in Chicago. Right, because the Iroquois, unlike a lot of the natives, had a kill Edomite on sight policy, and that's what they were doing. That's why you had, you got the monument of Fort Dearborn right there in Michigan. And right there at the bridge in Michigan
Is that
what's the side street that comes past it on an angle?
Not Milwaukee.
No, on Michigan Avenue.
Is that near Rush Street?
Ogden?
No. The street that crosses. I just can't. Damn, it's pissing me off.
It's like Ida B. Wells or something
No,
like that.
brother,
Michigan
and right as you crossing the bridge, crossing the water, crossing on the northern side.
Wacker.
Where Michigan and Wacker is the location of Fort Dearborn.
Okay.
In case for brothers who didn't know that. That's where that monument that sits on the bridge and it shows the Edomite and the woman behind him, and he's brave with his sword. You see all the Gadites attacking him with the tomahawks. And a couple Gadites are dead. And this Edomite, right? So they made him like he the hero, but the point is that the Gadites killed every man, woman, and child in that fort. They attacked Fort Dearborn and destroyed everyone. Because and then they finally sent in the military, and then the military came in with their cannons and guns and finally got the dominion. But that's that area right there, what brothers call the Glade.
Okay.
All the tourism is, the restaurants and the
White girl.
What they call the river walk,
Right.
and all that fancy shit, and all the little boat rides and the tourist ride. Right there was where that battle took place. That whole bridge area, that was Fort Dearborn, where the Gadites killed all the Edomites. Right, and so that city sticker, someone can put it up on Yep, that's it, brother. You can put it in front of all the cameras. That is what that is put there for. That is put there as a monument to remember that all these white people died at Fort Dearborn, all right? And then they make this one Edomite like he's this brave, hero that fought to the end and killed many men before he went down. No, all of them died cowering in blood, getting scalped.
Yup.
Yeah,
Right.
put so much hell on Esau, man. Esau had to put down the reservations.
So, but if all Gad had that mentality, prophecy would have, fix your camera.
No, it's good.
No, you fix your
Oh,
camera.
okay.
You make sure. Had all Gad had that mentality, that way, prophecy had to happen. Okay? Because by the time when Esau started moving from the east to the west, by the time he started coming to the Midwest and going west, Gad was on to his ass. All right?
Wasn't no more bullshit.
Right, because they knew all the dirt you did out east and stole New York and all the eastern states and Connecticut, how you murdered and
Killed all the animals and
smallpox
shit.
and shit. They knew what you did. So by the time you came west, you got met by Sitting Bull, Cochise, Geronimo, all these wild motherfuckers, Crazy Horse. You got met with hostility by the time they came this way. Because they already knew, dog, we know what you did to,
He kept saying, let me get a little more piece of land.
Right. He was like, oh, hell no, nigga, we know what's up.
Take over everything.
That's how I did on the East Coast.
But
more piece of land.
prophecy had to be fulfilled, man. All right? So, but prophecy is still going to be fulfilled because it tells you that Gad, in the end, is going to get that ass. And you saw a little bit of that and that the tribes are going to come together. All that was shown circling back to the beginning of this lesson, 40 acres. Because you had a family of Judites and Gadites that had come together. You right? All right, you had Gad and Judah living on a farm together, and their families had blended. And the lines were blurred. And some of the ones who looked like Judah was Gad, and vice versa. You understand?
They mixed.
Right, they had intermingled. And they were who were they fighting against? They were fighting against white people. Cannibals. Okay? Like we were talking about, that Sinners movie, man, and I watched a short video where Michael B. Jordan broke it down himself and filled in some of the gaps. And basically, it shows you two things. All right? Because the regular Edomites were representation of the hatred and the struggle that Jake had to go through here in America. All right? And then the vampires represented the Ish, who wanted to not only take Jake, but take Jake's he wanted your talent. He wanted everything, which is why the character Sammy was so important, because Sammy was the music man. Right? And Jake had so much talent, they wanted to literally consume you. Now, here's the vampires. Right? They wanted to consume you and consume what you had. Hence the reason why, you think about, what's the book? The Delectable Negro. All right? Because how they would actually eat Jake. So Esau been on this cannibal shit for a very long time, while calling everybody else savages. And talking about how Alexander brought civilization. No, you Edomites brought cannibalism, you brought bestiality, you brought pedophilia, you brought covetous of land and things that are not your own, and you brought slavery. And then you used your oppressed servants' talents to entertain you, going back to the Colosseums to now. All right, because when you go into the Colosseums, whether it be basketball, baseball, soccer, football, whatever it is, who's the number one people in the Colosseums entertaining? Is Jacob, that's in the Colosseum, being the entertainment, and Jacob being the benefactor. And Esau being the benefactor.
Right.
All right? Nothing has changed. Which is why we're so happy to see these last moments coming upon. We're enjoying the fall of. Matter of fact, we're enjoying it, and then we're still angry because this shit can't happen fast enough.
Right.
We're tired, man. We're tired. Our women are tired. Our children are tired. All right? We ready to get on with life, man, because we're not living. You know?
I got a scripture to back up what you were saying about that movie and how they had came together. The northern and southern kingdom. This is Isaiah 11, start 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off.
Yeah, and while you read that, it brings to mind one thing. Also in the movie, you know, they had to have a woman in power because the lead Judite was a woman.
And
they had the Gadite man calling her ma'am. Right? Because they both were military, and he was a sergeant and she was an officer. So she was ma'am.
Wow.
Even though he was popular. You know, she still was ma'am. So you know they had to throw that shit in there. That woman empowered, woman and man shit. They had to throw it in there. Right? But nevertheless, it's still a really good movie that brothers really should see. You know, I would suggest it. As a matter of fact, I put that in the bishop's room, and I want all the Midwest bishops to see that movie, have their men see it, and do lessons on it. Because there's a lot you'll be able to do a lot of edification after seeing that movie. And I'm interested in seeing different brothers' perspectives on what they see and what they get out of it.
Okay.
You know, we all can learn from this.
Okay. All right. So the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Okay? And this is where we at. This is the coming back. This is the...
It's a lucky y'all smoked on the planes.
Off top, no problem. That's all right. You know I got my Rick James breakdown in effect. Okay. So anyway, yeah, man. So this is where we at. This is the biggest thing, and that Western Asian, but she wanted to be known as Middle Eastern bitch, had to say when she said her biggest thing is young men here in America bringing out preaching from the Bible.
Black men. She said the big right. They were in the middle of a fake war with Hamas. They were in the middle of commit genocide on Palestine. But I think she's a minister of defense or something like that. And she made a statement that the biggest threat to Israel were young black men in America. It's like, wait, what the hell? How the fuck? What? You in the middle of a war with Hamas shooting missiles at you. How the fuck? How are you gonna bring Judah in? But that's why. Because they know that those are the true Judites. The whole world knows it. These people just control the cards, and nobody wants to get hit with the whole anti-semantics thing. No one wants to get canceled.
Right.
Which is why people stay quiet. But unfortunately for them, the world is not staying quiet. Too many people are speaking up now.
That's it.
All right? Matter of fact, that made me think of this. Go ahead and speak, brother. I'm going to find something.
Okay.
I got something.
Go ahead.
God, this 2 Corinthians 10 verse 4 says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted it."
That's what pisses Esau the most. Yeah. Then you won't be carnal.
Yeah, no, because we're not out here standing on our own strength. Because we're not standing on our own strength, that this word has a whole lot more power. Okay, and they sin. They sin. They know. Look. It's not by accident that they know. Like I said, because the apostles and whatnot said that we be saying it all the time. Look at the world since 2007 when YouTube showed up, and how exponentially y'all the motherfuckers to move so close to the end now.
Right.
That you can't stop it even if you wanted to.
Yeah, when the men of the Lord started speaking, the Lord started speeding up things since then. But here, peep this. Pay close attention.
What's up, America? Hey, let's talk about a land at the center of global tension. A land many have been told holds divine authority, but when you pull back the curtain, it's something else entirely. This place we call Israel is not what most people think. It's a construct, a manufactured state built on geopolitical deals.
It's a
not
type
divine inheritance.
type C.
It was established in 1948, not by ancient decree, but by paper, politics, and power plays. This was not the return of an ancient people to a promised land. It was a rebranding operation for global influence. Now ask yourself, how does a nation the size of a postage stamp on the world map hold so much sway over media, military funding, and foreign policy across the globe? It's not because of its size or virtue. It's because of the web of influence surrounding it. We're talking intelligence networks, lobbying power, and financial control funneled through international institutions. And then there's the conflict, the endless back and forth that never seems to resolve. But what if both sides are what they seem? What if some of the most extreme factions, like the group often labeled as resistance fighters or terrorists on one side, were actually created, funded, or allowed by the very government they claim to oppose? See, this is a pattern. Create the problem, control the reaction, and offer the solution. One that tightens control, not loosens it. It's like setting a fire just so you can be the hero with the hose. That's what's happening here. What people think is a holy war is actually a staged play, a script designed to bring ancient prophecies to life, not because they're unfolding naturally, but because someone is forcing the scene changes behind the curtain. There are no organic movements. These are orchestrated chess moves being played to manufacture a global narrative. The true Israelites, they're scattered. They're not the ones sitting in high towers with powerful militaries. They're the people rising from the dust, the ones finding truth in the middle of propaganda. This is not about race. It's not about religion. It's about control. About shaping a new world from the ashes of confusion. That's why you got to see through it. Don't fall for the theater. The real kingdom isn't built on land and borders. It's built on truth, sovereignty, and divine alignment. Stay sharp. Stay sovereign. And don't let the illusion win. I love y'all.
Now free out.
Cut.
Cold cut.
Cut.
Said it's not, he said it's not built on biblical prophecy at all, but a construct. All right, and that's exactly what it is. And and I did a video earlier this morning, speaking about the ignoring of Ezekiel the 36th chapter. How all these because all of a sudden Christian churches are talking about the real Israelites and prophecy, something that they've denied and scoffed at since we've been on the internet teaching. All right, now all of a sudden they want to talk about it, and but one thing from the rabbis to the pastors, nobody is speaking about Ezekiel the 36th chapter. And I do a lot of lessons where I speak about 36, 37, 38, and how they play out in the end days. All right, 37 is the awakening. All right, 38 is basically Gog and Magog and the end. The gathering in the valley of Jehoshaphat happens for what? For the controversy over who the Israelites are. And then 36 makes it very plain and simple as to what he was speaking about. The orchestrated theft of the land by the Edomites. And that the Edomites are claiming to be Jacob. Well, the Edomites are actually Esau, Jacob's brother. All right? And that is the truth and the reality that they just don't want to deal with, or they want, just like when you bring up any evidence, they just dismiss it and pretend like it's not true. Like they're doing with Jeffrey Epstein and all the evidence is now. There is nothing to see here. Right, just close that door. All right?
He had no clients, and he took himself out.
Right. And like you said, why is that woman sitting in jail if none of this ever happened?
Yeah, why is she sitting in jail for all sex trafficking for people she never sex trafficked?
Yeah, since he ain't had no clients.
Right, even though, and she participated in a lot of these rapes. She was in on it. She was helping, molest these underage girls.
She was like, my dad.
Yeah, but she was even more. She was active participant. She was butt ass naked getting down with them too.
She was getting off.
Right.
I had Ezekiel 36. This is Ezekiel 36 and verse 5. It says, Thus said the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which is the Greek way of saying Edom.
Right.
It says, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. All right, so those people who are in the land of Israel today are actually Edomites. All right, they're not the real Israelites, man. All right, the devil that the Bible speak of, they are the wicked of the world.
I got a scripture for you. This is Romans 9. I'm starting about 20. Nay, but, O man, who art thou that replies against Yahweh? Shall the thing formed say unto him that formed it, why hast thou made me thus? This Edomite, it was manifest destiny. You were proud of this shit. Now you want to call it critical race theory. You want to hide from it. But this is who you are. This is what you was built and made to do. Like the scorpion and the frog. You crossing the water, but if you kill me, you go down too. You don't know how to swim, you fucking scorpion. But I can't help myself. Okay? Have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump, which is literally what happened. Because first came out red like a hairy garment. So this was from the same ovulation period and the same skeet that produced these twins. Okay? Have not the potter power over the clay of the same lump to make one vessel unto honor and the other into dishonor? And the first one that came out was into dishonor. Okay? What if Yahweh wanted to show his wrath and to make his power known and do it with much long suffering, the vessels of wrath fit to destruction? So this Edomite, even though he did all his archaeological digs, knows that the scriptures is true, know that they found Noah's Ark, they found all this stuff. You know that this has got to happen. But you still think you can squeeze your shit in there, and then he hoping that he can squeeze it in and lock it.
Right. I find it interesting because I've heard that that Hitler, in some of his speeches, in one of his speeches, it was said that he asked them why are they following that Schwarzer religion.
Right.
And you know what Schwartz means? Schwartz.
Yeah. Schwarzenegger, double black.
Because it seems that Hitler acknowledged that and knew that, look, we're the Edomites. It's our time. It's like, man, it's our time. Let's enjoy this. Let's rule this bitch. Y'all creating all this separation with all this Schwarzer, all this nigger religion you trying to hold on to. But he didn't understand that Amalek has to do what Amalek is going to do. All right? And Amalek could care less about the rest of Edom. And you got to understand, Esau also knows that Amalek, you know how Esau gets down, he would consider Amalek a bastard.
Hey.
Because if you're not born from the same mother and father, you know how Esau gets down. You're a bastard,
Yeah.
Right, you don't have no rights to shit. That's the Edomite way of thinking, and the fact of the matter is, from that way of thinking, that's how they look at Amalek. Because you a grandson from a concubine. You weren't even from our mom. When the mother has nothing to do with it, he's still your brother. He's still from your bloodline. All right, and what did Amalek do? He's the first of the nations, and Amalek has shown his dominance. Because he's ruling he's controlling the most powerful place in the world. All right, he's got all his lobbyists. Like I said, there's no Russian lobby, there's no Irish lobby, there's no Italian lobby, there's no Romanian lobby, there's no Czechoslovakian lobby. No, but the Israelis have how many lobbyists, and they control the government. And that's not anti any goddamn thing. It's fucking fact. And it's ridiculous that they would even fix their lips to try to put up the anti-Semitic shield. When all you have to do is make a quick Google search, and you notice too they're starting to take their names off stuff. You have to look deeper now.
Or change their name.
Yeah, but it used to boldly profess their ishness of their name when you look up certain things, and now I've noticed when you look up certain things, you got to dig deep to find out who the CEOs and all that is. But when it comes to all the law enforcement agencies, to the medical agencies, to the political agencies, there they are, at the tops, making decisions, okay, with dual citizenships. And so what does that tell you? And the average American, you know, they don't want to speak about it because they're afraid of getting canceled. Right? And then I'm just going to continue to say America is not the home of the brave. The America is the home of the lube up and bend overs. Because that's exactly what they do for Amalek every fucking day, including MAGA. All right? You know, MAGA keep a jar of Vaseline.
Damn.
To make it easy. And now they get mad because they done took the Vaseline away. And now they gotta like Diddy, take that, take that. And they not happy.
Oh, you stupid.
They not happy, man. All right, they mad now. It's like, damn, they not mad standing up for their rights like men or like women. You know, they mad because you took the Vaseline.
This is I got one real quick.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Numbers 24:20. And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever.
Right, and then that shame is coming upon them. Now you read that one, go ahead and we're gonna get ready to wrap. Get that Deuteronomy 33 and 28, 29.
This is Deuteronomy 33 and verse 28. It says, Israel then shall dwell in safety alone.
Right, so stop right there. The plowshares haven't been beaten into working tools. All right? All 12 tribes are not there, and it's not peace on earth. And like the guy in the video said, the Israelites are still scattered, rising from the dust. All right? And they're scattered among all people, so it's not just a black thing.
Right.
That's the spin that Esau tries to put on it. And he regurgitates that shit over and over to these dumbass niggas be saying. I hate the black Israelites. Well, we do too. What the fuck is a black Israelite? We know what the Hebrew Israelites are. But what is this break? That's some shit that y'all made up, man. All right? Then you regurgitating what the enemy said. Read.
It says, the fountain of Jacob shall be upon a land of corn and wine.
Right. So Jacob will be the ruling class government of the whole world. There's going to be no American, Japanese, Russian, Chinese, Bangladesh, Thailand. There's going to be no other mountains and hills. All people will be under the authority of Israel, living in peace and safety, coming to the land of Israel to learn the ways to keep the wrath of the Most High off of them. All right? And if they don't, then the Lord's going to deplete them of rain, and he's going to send the judges to go see them. And the judges will deal very harshly according to the Bible. That's why the Lord's Prayer says, on earth as it is in heaven. All right? The laws of the Bible are very strict. All right? And they will enforce them 100%. And the thing is that the Israelites as a people, those laws will be written into our inward parts. Therefore, we can never go off again. Which is why our kingdom will be an everlasting kingdom. Because we won't break the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord ever again. But the other nations, it won't be in their inward parts. So they will. And when they do, the judges will show up, 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes to deal with them. And you best believe when they show up, the heathen going to be quick to point out who the people are. People already know. When you show up to that land, it'll be that's them niggas right over there. We follow you, Howard. They the ones that built that shit out in the woods. Them niggas right there. They gonna point them out. Right? And then we gonna deal with them harshly. That's and people don't understand that is the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven are the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes being the judges of the whole earth under the authority of the Lord. All right? That is the new kingdom. That is the Constitution. That will be the law of the whole world, man. It will be enforced by the men of the Lord. All right? Ain't gonna be no prophetesses. Okay?
Unto you, O man, I call.
Come.
Proverbs the 8th chapter, 4th verse.
And the whole world will be a better place as a result of it.
Right.
All right? Read.
It says, also his heavens shall drop down dew. And also the land of Israel is not flourishing right now.
No.
They don't get no rain over there. They got it's a whole project that they got to take the salt water from the sea and then reverse it. You know, it's a big process.
They
have to bring in trees and bushes.
Yeah.
And shit like that.
You took that right out of my head.
They're not. Yeah, the earth is not giving its substance to them. because they don't belong there.
Yeah.
Read.
Says, happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee.
Right, and they've been found liars, man. Right? They've been found liars. You know, and the Lord is taking that power, their ability, their ability to lie away. All right? Because as a matter of fact, that most of those videos that I played came off TikTok, and they hate TikTok because they can't control it. So so TikTok is about to be replaced with something else called, I forget what it's called, but that's come September. So I'm praying that nothing, we don't even get there. You know, there's a lot of shit that's gonna happen between now and before the summer's over.
Right.
And the collapse and blackouts and martial law could be all the above.
Right. Well,
All right.
don't forget the storms.
Oh yeah. So the Lord is everything that He said He's gonna do, He's doing, man. All right. So keep your faith, keep your belief, stay in prayer, man. All right, because we all fall short. But if we're not the men of the Lord, where the fuck are they? Who are they? Who's doing this work? Who's putting their lives on the line to preach the gospel of Yahweh Shema Shai to our people?
Uncut, unfiltered.
Uncut, unfiltered. All right. It's definitely not these church people because they're abiding by the law of the Ish, trying not to be labeled an anti-Sem. All right? Which is the farthest from the Lord. Is it more than that, brother?
Come. It says, and thou shalt tread upon their high places.
And by speaking the truth, you treading all over. We fuck your couch, nigga. Right. Right. We trampling all over their shit, man. We putting mud all over their white rugs and stepping on their couch with our muddy boots, man.
What Daniel says is that they had them teeth of iron. We kicking your teeth out your mouth.
Yeah, you know, they got this decorated, highly decorated house with all this plush white carpet, and you just walked in the house with your muddy boots on.
Take your shoes off, bitch. Take my shoes off.
You know?
No.
And basically that's telling the truth. You putting a stain on their glory. One more scripture. Shameful spewing, then we'll wrap it up.
Of course, like I said, they had them teeth of iron, kicking their teeth down their throat. Hey, the way they used to knock our teeth out, bring us over here on this ship, we kicking their teeth down their throat now. With this word.
This Habakkuk 2 and verse 16 says, thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and the shameful spewing shall be on thy glory.
There it is, man. And so, you know, shameful spewing on your glory, we're pissing on your glory. All right? So with that, we're going to give all praise, all honor, glory unto
Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Ruchakodash, Kwam Yasharallah, Abba Babal.